So my name is Abigail Oxia. I'm the editor of Edge Industry Review. And joining me today is Craig Huffman, CEO of Metro Edge. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me today.
How have you enjoyed your time at PTC?
It has been incredibly productive being here at PTC in lovely Hawaii.
So let's talk about a bit about Metro Edge, the company, how it started, what its focus is, what its focus was, and where you're moving it to.
Yes, so Metro Edge is a commercial real estate development firm. It was founded after I successfully exited another firm that I founded, and I sold all the assets in 2020. So Metro Edge was really born out of that. And what we're focused on is our initial investment is a data center in Chicago inside a medical district. It's a $250 million plus investment, 24 megawatts. It's a vertical construction 5-story building that is going to be one of the leading edge data centers that you can think of in an urban context.
And what was the rationale behind the decision to fund?
Well, healthcare, right? I mean, you think about AI, you think about where things are going, healthcare, enterprise customers, proximity to downtown Chicago. The site had a lot of positive characteristics, and we thought with all that we've learned since the pandemic, right? We've all become more dependent on technology, that ultimately there was an opportunity inside this medical district, which also sits less than 2 miles from downtown Chicago.
So what is the benefits going to be like once this?
The benefits will be healthcare needs to lean into analyzing data, looking at trends, right? Understanding not only the storage component, but artificial intelligence, predictive analytics, right? The COVID vaccine, which AI was an important piece of discovering that. And so healthcare is one use. There's also government customers that sit in the city proper that have a need to upgrade their digital infrastructure. And so we thought there were enough customers that, there's a tremendous focus on hyperscale, I think to the detriment of co-location. And I think enterprise customers lose out. And so we thought there was a market opportunity, and our business plan is really urban infill data center development. So if it's in a city that has likely black and brown people, or characteristics that are typically defined around a city, that is where we think we have more of a competitive advantage than trying to go out to the traditional locations that you see data centers, suburban footprint, rural areas, things of that nature.
And I was, interested in the fact that it's Chicago, because obviously we had a discussion beforehand.
Chicago's a tough market. It's been unfriendly to data center development. I think it also hurts that Chicago has gotten a bad reputation for negatives, crime, mismanagement, corruption. Some things aren't entirely inaccurate, but ultimately the perception can become the reality. And we've seen this in talking to some of the largest tech companies, the concerns of what they don't know. Data centers are significant investments, and so you want certainty. The larger the investment, the more certainty required. And so that has been a challenge, but we've navigated it, and we have an opportunity with groups that see the unique opportunity of our business plan.
And with Metro Edge, being at PTC, some of the conversations around stuff like edge computing, AI, generative AI, what are some of the trends that you've gathered from here that will help you, going back with the implementations of these things?
Well, I think with AI, it is pushing the boundaries of capacity. I don't think companies thought we would be where we are. When you look at the densities that AI is demanding and requiring, I don't know how we're going to supply it. I met with someone yesterday saying, how are utility companies going to deliver the power that AI is going to demand, in addition to all the other functions that sit and are tied to a data center. So I think it's good for business. I think it's going to promote business plans that may not exist today, opportunities for edge plays that look different than they did in the conventional notion of what a data center was just 5 years ago. And so I think it creates opportunity. Someone said to me yesterday, there are companies that will revolutionize tech that no one has heard of right now, and they will be some of the largest companies 5 years from now. I hope that Metro Edge is one of those.
I was going to ask, so what is Metro Edge's strategy, other than the data centers, I guess, to regenerate Chicago? And
we're on the west side of Chicago. The west side has not received the level of investment that other parts of the city have. the West Side and the South Side. So our hope, right, is that there are young people, there are teenagers that are consumers of technology, right? Any teenager probably knows more about tech than most 40, 50, 60-year-old. But yet, if they don't understand the back end, the infrastructure part, the jobs that are tied to that, there are jobs for people in data centers that want to work with their hands. Where are we promoting those jobs for people that don't want to sit in front of a computer all day, that may have an interest in electrical, may have an interest in plumbing, may have an interest in all of the aspects, even security, or property management? These are all functions that we have to educate young people, diverse young people, to understand that there are jobs going away. AI will disrupt, right? People that raised horses and bred them lost jobs when cars came. This is part of the natural evolution of a society. But ultimately, we have to prepare the young people to understand there will be new jobs, and you must be prepared for what those jobs will require.
I think a lot of the conversation, I've been speaking on AI continuously, it's about what to do with it next. Like
Yeah.
what the big plan is going to be, or how it's going to help us in the long run. Do you feel like we as an industry, I'm adding myself inside this?
Absolutely.
Do you think as an industry we'll be able to figure that out?
I don't think anyone has the answer. I think disruption will always be the story. I mean, 20 years ago, who knew of Google, right? I think there are companies that will help us capture the lightning in the bottle that exists in this time if we don't destroy ourselves through nuclear war. Ultimately, technology will enable things that we don't even understand. So when you ask, like, where is it going? Who knows? I think the disruption will be the theme. And so this notion of, like, someone creates a company and they dominate for 30 years, I think it is conventional. I think it's going to be challenged. I think technology will enable businesses to come to existence that we didn't even know we needed. I thought the iPad was one of the dumbest ideas ever created, and I can't imagine now living without my iPad, right? And so that's a small example. Something that seemed extra, unnecessary, now is so foundational. And I think that's just a small example of how tech will show us things that we may not even know for ourselves.
100%. And in terms of Metro Edge's societal and community impact in 2024, what other things do you plan to do in terms of expanding?
We're looking at other markets. We have an anchor customer that's very intrigued with our location. We're beginning to have discussions about other markets that have characteristics similar to what we have identified in the Illinois Medical District with our site, and I believe that may be the business plan that we pursue. Urban infill development. You know, at the end of the day, we're a real estate development firm. So, you know, data centers are tech, but they also require real estate to be situated in. We think we have a niche, identifying that, and with the focus on hyperscale, right? I mean, a 24 megawatt facility is a rounding error now when you look at the 100 megawatt, the billions of dollars that are being poured in, but we think there's still a business plan. The edge play, right? Where AI is taking the entire industry is going to create business plans that may look very different than what the conventional, the stacks, the T5s, the major operators 5-10 years from now may find that the business model has evolved. And we hope that there is a place for our niche, for us to expand it, grow it, and be very profitable in doing so.
Last question. Knowing all you know now, is there anything that you would have done differently?
Oh, God. If I had known how difficult this industry is, real estate, I understand. I did it for 20 years. Data centers are technology and they're operating businesses. And so what I was forced to do was to really go back to school and learn an aspect of an industry. I knew the real estate side. I didn't know the tech side. And I became a student. I sat with people that knew more than me. I wanted them to pour into me because without that knowledge, you can't succeed. It was humbling, I must be honest, because if you had asked me 3 years ago, snap my fingers, I know real estate, I have a site, we'll get it entitled and we'll be done like that. The humbling process is where you learn, right? I think someone said once, success is a horrible teacher because it convinces people that they can never fail. It is the worst teacher because early success makes you not pay attention to fundamentals. And so in some ways, the fact that it was more challenging humbled me, and it made me become a student of this industry. And I think the relationships that I've developed, the people that I've gotten to know, including you, have helped me be better and hopefully build a business that will be more sustainable long term.
Thank you so much for joining me. This was a great conversation.
Thank you very much.
And don't forget, for all the latest edge computing news, follow Edge Industry Review on across all platforms.